One of the things that I am extremely passionate about is learning, and in particular learning new skills. I was thinking the other day what has changed about my learning style over the last year or so, and I definitely find myself using Twitter in a far different way to how I used to. Occasionally I will delete all of the apps off my phone and I go on a social detox because I'm one of those, and I find myself missing Twitter the most because I've realized that I don't just use Twitter to procrastinate like a lot of you probably do as well, but I use Twitter as a learning platform. And I think the way the world is going, those people who are able to learn new skills and learn quickly and efficiently are the people who are really going to excel. For me personally, I'm interested in crypto, data science, entrepreneurship, all of these kind of emerging things where, yes, you can read a book and establish a good foundation, but I have yet to find a place better to get up-to-date information and actually learn than Twitter. How to use Twitter for learning. The first thing that I would advise you to do is, if you haven't been on the platform in a while, or even if you're actively on there every single day, go through who you're following and just unfollow the accounts that you don't engage with and don't even like. Particularly if, like myself, you've had Twitter for, I don't know, probably 10 years, or maybe it's not 10 years, but you know what I mean. Once you've audited the followers and you've removed people who aren't really adding that much value, what I did was I really admired this certain YouTuber. I won't name them. So I went to their Twitter feed and I went through who they followed, and I followed the majority of them. Now, I know this may seem a bit rash, following a bunch of people who you don't know, but what I'm doing here is getting myself into this person's frame of thought. Twitter is great for this because you can see who everyone follows, so you can just go through their followers and see the exact same things that they see every single day. And then the important thing is, over time, over a couple of weeks, you'll start to get a sense of which people you followed that you actually resonate with and which ones you can just unfollow. This is a really, really good way of kind of stealing the best people they follow, the best people for you anyway. There isn't no best people, but you know what I mean. If you can't think of anyone you aspire to and whose followers you could essentially just steal and follow yourself, the step that I would recommend here is to follow the topics that you are interested in. The great thing about Twitter is that you can follow topics, and Twitter essentially has an algorithm which bunches a load of tweets together that they think are related to that topic. So take data science, for example. If you follow the topic data science, you'll see a load of tweets from a load of different people talking about data science. And what you can do is then follow people who you resonate with. And then after a while, you can just unfollow the topic, because you will notice after a while the topics do become a bit spammy. It kind of feels like everyone is tweeting the same thing just from different accounts. You get to kind of taste tweets from everyone. Taste tweets, that's a weird term, isn't it? You get to explore tweets from everyone, see their threads, and then you can just unfollow the topic. While we're on the subject of threads are absolutely great. I have learned and spent far too much time in threads recently. I think threads, it's a balance. You'll notice that a lot of times people use threads in order to spark engagement because it gets you scrolling through all of their tweets, essentially. It can sometimes be like a form of procrastination if you find yourself reading thread after thread after thread. So what I would recommend is look for people who post threads maybe 2 or 3 times a week. I follow this guy, I can't remember his name, I think his name's Santiago, in the data science niche, and he posts 2 or 3 threads a week. And I'm almost excited for those threads because I learn so much from them. So find people like that in the particular area that you're interested in. So you now should be at the stage where you're following a bunch of people and your timeline is a load of tweets which are helping you to learn and develop. The important thing now to avoid that procrastination of just being like, oh yeah, I'm learning, is to start asking questions where you are genuinely confused or interested, or maybe you have a specific question. Because the great thing about Twitter is that people will actually actually respond to you. I do this with data science all the time. I see people post a thread and I ask them a question, and 9 times out of 10 they will respond. And it's brilliant because you can ask really specific questions that otherwise wouldn't get a reply on something like email or maybe an Instagram DM or something like that. From my experience, there's always that stage where you're reading a thread and it makes sense to you, but you have a certain question. That's the point where you just ask and reply to the tweet and you say, oh, excuse me, would you mind helping me with this? And you can just send them a DM, and a lot of the time they'll respond to that as well. And I have made a lot of good contacts over Twitter so far, and I've only been doing this approach for a couple of months. I genuinely think if you have a really good curated Twitter feed, it can be really powerful. You can learn a hell of a lot of things and be exposed to a bunch of things that you didn't even know existed. The final thing left to say is, if you enjoyed this video, follow me on Twitter. Had to plug that, but yeah, follow me, send me a tweet, message, whatever. Happy to have a chat. Thanks very much for watching this video. Take care, and I'll see you soon.